In video gaming terms, a spin-off is more than just what happens when you take a corner too fast in the latest Gran Turismo, but rather describes a title that has been derived from an existing work with a focus on specific details or events that separate it from the original. It's only natural that successful franchises receive spin-off content. After all, when there are lots of fans out there eager to explore every corner of the lore and lots of executives eager to make as much money out of an intellectual property as humanly possible, all the other pieces just fall into place. It's how we end up with amazing stuff like Mortal Kombat Mythologies Sub-Zero and Metal Gear Survive. Don't worry though, because spin-offs can be good too, and in rare cases can even eclipse their progenitors. Today, however, we're looking at video game franchises that have loads of spin-off games, and these games often run the gamut of quality. For every Forza Horizon, there's an Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival. For every World of Warcraft, there's a Bomberman Act Zero, and for every Cadence of Hyrule, there's a Lemmings Paintball. Actually, you know what, I take that back. That's not fair, Lemmings Paintball was quite good. Anyway, I'm Ben from TripleJump, and here are 10 video game franchises with too many spin-offs. Number 10. Assassin's Creed. Ubisoft's flagship series has been sailing the seven seas of commercial success since its inception way back in 2007, providing players with open worlds to explore based on historical eras and locations and giving them the tools and opportunities to perform all kinds of stylish assassinations. The Assassin's Creed series was onto a winner from day one. Sure enough, the spin-off games were soon to follow, spearheaded by 2008 Nintendo DS title Assassin's Creed Altair's Chronicles. This prequel followed the original Assassin's escapades a year before the start of the first game and opened up the floodgates for many more spin-offs to follow. PSP title Assassin's Creed Bloodlines followed Altair once again, and Assassin's Creed 2 Discovery was the best received of the early handheld bunch. Over the following years, Creed spin-offs continued to pop up with regularity. Assassin's Creed Chronicles took players to China, India, and Russia, and the Vita title Assassin's Creed 3 Liberation provided the series its first female protagonist. And these are just the tip of a very stabby iceberg. Heck, you could even try your hand at Assassin's Creed Freerunners in your browser if you were so inclined. Honestly, with all these assassins running everywhere, it's a wonder there's anyone left to assassinate. Number 9. Mega Man. If there's one man who likes his spin-offs, it's Mega Man. Capcom's shiny blue icon has long been known for starring in tricky, precise platformers with plenty of challenge, and he's managed to stir up quite the following over the years. The main line of Mega Man games starts with 1987's Mega Man on the NES and stretches to 2018's Mega Man 11 with the non-numerically titled interlude known as Mega Man and Bass somewhere in between. Then there are the Game Boy games, which feature original plots and were released between 1991 and 1994. That's 17 games so far, and we haven't even got to the spin-offs yet. The Mega Man X series of games takes the story into the future and focus on maverick robots that have turned on their human creators. The Mega Man Legends games take things into the third dimension, and the Mega Man Battle Network games add a strategy RPG twist to proceedings. Then you've got the Mega Man Zero games, the Mega Man ZX sub-series, and the Mega Man Star Force title, along with oddities like Mega Man Soccer and Street Fighter X Mega Man. The list goes on, but I'm tired of saying Mega Man now. Can we rename him to something similar? Wonder Boy, maybe? No? Oh wait, that's already taken. Number 8. Sonic the Hedgehog. While Sega's spiky mascot is best known for spin dashing, he's done his fair share of spin-offing too. These side games started back in the Mega Drive era, with Sonic Spinball turning the blue blur into a pinball and Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine pasting a Sonic-themed reskin on top of popular puzzle series Puyo Puyo. Other Sonic-less spin-offs include 32X title Chaotix, where Knuckles and his pals took center stage, and Tails Adventure and Tails Sky Patrol, where the adorable twin-tailed fox received the limelight. Despite his speedy reputation, Sonic's earlier brushes with the racing genre didn't handle too well, with Sonic R splitting its audience and Sonic Drift generally seen as a disappointment, but they finally got it right in 2010 with Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing. The prickly fellow even showed up in his own fighting game before making an ill-advised foray into Kinect territory with the barely playable Sonic Free Riders. More recent spin-offs include the Sonic Boom games, which all gamers should spin 180 degrees and walk away from. However, with Sonic still planted firmly in the public consciousness thanks to some decent recent mainline showings and those multi-million-dollar grossing movies, we're sure this veteran gaming icon will be spinning off in all directions for years to come. Seriously, you'd think you'd get dizzy. Number 7. Halo. While not necessarily known for the quantity of its spin-offs, the universe of Microsoft's flagship series has some high-quality side content. The first to hit the shelves was Halo Wars, where Age of Empires creators Ensemble Studios did a sterling job of building a real-time strategy game specifically for consoles. This strategic spin-off received a sequel in 2017, and both games gave players the chance to oversee Halo battlefields from the general's chair. Halo ODST provided a surprisingly moody and atmospheric take on the series' gameplay, setting players loose in a post-invasion New Mombasa and letting them piece together what happened to their team. Then, Halo Reach became arguably the hardest-hitting Halo game yet. This prequel told the story of the doomed planet Reach and had players take part in a hopeless defense and then a desperate evacuation as the situation got exponentially worse. The final two spin-offs to mention come in the form of twin-stick shooters Halo Spartan Assault and Halo Spartan Strike, where players blasted waves of enemies from a top-down perspective. These didn't receive the plaudits of their fellow spin-offs, but are fun distractions in their own right. Interestingly, not one of these spin-offs puts Master Chief in the starring role. He's obviously too busy blasting aliens and hanging out with holographic AI girls to do understudy work. Never mind. Number 6. Dragon Quest. A turn-based RPG series at its core, the spin-off games have been all kinds of different genres, with action RPGs, Pokemon-style monster recruiting, Minecraft-style building and survival, and even a bit of groovy rhythm gameplay getting the Dragon Quest treatment. The first spin-off to make it out of Japan was 1998's Dragon Quest Monsters for Game Boy Color. This handheld adventure allows players to capture, breed, and battle their horde of cutesy monsters, and was the first Dragon Quest game to ever make it to Europe. If you wanted to play as one of the series' most iconic monsters, the Humble Slime, then you'd get your chance in the appropriately titled Dragon Quest Heroes Rocket Slime, which stars a heroic slime called Rocket. The franchise has also offered players the chance to build their own Dragon Quest world in the Dragon Quest Builders games, which are good for those who looked at the villages and vistas in the mainline series and thought, I could do better. However, even with all of this spin-off content, the Dragon Quest series still lags behind its more famous Square Enix stablemate. More on that later. Number 5. Resident Evil. Capcom's genre-defining horror series first took up residence in 1996 on the PS1, but its spin-off story starts in the year 2000 with the excellent Resident Evil Code Veronica for Dreamcast. The first Resident Evil game to feature full 3D environments instead of pre-rendered backgrounds, it all got off to a good start. However, its status as a definite spin-off as opposed to a mainline title is somewhat hazy. Definitely a spin-off though is 2000's Resident Evil Survivor. This PS1 light gun shooter released to unfavorable reviews, but still paved the way for a slew of genre-swapping offshoots to follow. More light gun games were released on the PS2 and Wii despite Survivor's less than stellar reception, and Capcom had plenty more experiments up their sleeves. Seemingly hell-bent on infecting the third-person shooter genre, Capcom also released 2012's Resident Evil Operation Raccoon City and 2016's Umbrella Corps. Alas, both these games were mostly abhorred by fans and critics, and 3DS third-person shooter Resident Evil The Mercenaries 3D didn't fare much better either. Code Veronica aside, the moral of the story is thus: unless you like janky shooters or mostly uninspiring light gun games, stick with the mainline Resident Evils, yeah? Number 4. Mario. You might not know this, but Mario has been known to take part in a few sporting events over the years. Golf, tennis, football, basketball, and kart racing have all piqued the multi-talented plumber's interest, and he's even showed up at the Olympic Games more than once. These sporting ventures aren't Mario's only side projects though, with the franchise birthing more spin-offs than you can shake a plunger at. Super Mario RPG, the early Paper Mario games, and Mario and Luigi series all see Nintendo's mascot involved in some role-playing shenanigans, and that iconic mustache has appeared in 18 Mario Party games and counting. If you'd rather test your brain than attend parties, however, the Dr. Mario series might just scratch that puzzler itch. The franchise has also received a fair few spin-offs where the man himself takes a backseat. Super Princess Peach for the DS sees Mario's #1 girl set off on a platforming adventure, and Captain Toad's Treasure Tracker is a charming puzzler set in neat little isometric worlds. Money-obsessed villain Wario has also taken center stage more than once. Honestly, there aren't many other avenues for Mario spin-offs to go down, really. What's next? Mario gardening? Oh, you know what, actually, I'd definitely buy that, never mind. Number 3. Pokemon. The Pokemon franchise allows you to catch passing animals and send them off to do battle in your name, for no other reason than to prove you're the best at making animals fight, we think? That might be enough for some, but did you ever consider the opportunities that Pokemon spin-off games might present? You want to take photos of your pocket monsters? Pokemon Snap has you covered. How about talking to your favorite critter? Maybe Hey You Pikachu will satisfy. Would you rather be a Pokemon Ranger than a Pokemon Trainer? Well, surprisingly enough, Pokemon Ranger is the game for you. These titles are just the tip of the Poke Iceberg. You can solve Poke crimes with Detective Pikachu, take part in Poke races with Pokemon Dash, and even conquer Poke Ancient Japan with Pokemon Conquest, a strategy game that injects Pokemon into the nation's real-life Sengoku period. The Pokemon spin-off series with the most legs, however, would appear to be Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. These games give players direct control of a Pokemon and offer large areas filled with hostile Pokemon to explore. Also, the first Mystery Dungeon games actually received a remake in 2020 with Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Rescue Team DX. When your spin-offs are getting remakes, you know you've made it. Number 2. Shin Megami Tensei. Hold on tight everyone as we dive into the occult world of Shin Megami Tensei. While it's likely the furthest from a household name of all the franchises on our list, one of its spin-offs is making huge stylish strides into the wider gaming consciousness, but we'll come back to that. The Megami Tensei franchise comprises a series of role-playing games beginning with 1987's digital devil story Megami Tensei for Famicom. This game saw players take control of a human character and their demon allies as they explore a darkly magical underbelly of modern society. These themes would continue throughout the series and would also bleed into its spin-off content. The likes of Devil Summoner and Devil Survivor continue the demons in modern-day Japan theme, with the latter offering some strategic grid-based combat in lieu of traditional turn-based fare. Then there's Persona. This atmospheric demon-summoning RPG series began as a Megami Tensei offshoot and gradually rose in prominence to become one of the foremost RPG series around. It's received numerous spin-offs of its own, with offerings to please dungeon crawlers, fighters, and dancers alike. The ultimate spin-off has to be Jack Bros for the Virtual Boy though, right? Oh, you've never played it? Can you even call yourself a Megami Tensei fan? Number 1. Final Fantasy. It's an obvious observation to make, but back in 1987, when the original Final Fantasy was released, there was, in fact, nothing final about it. It would go on to spawn one of the most beloved, prolific, and spun-off RPG franchises ever. The 15 numbered entries released at the time of writing, with a 16th on the way very soon, barely scratched the surface of what Square Enix's flagship offers, and spin-off content ranges from specific character-focused sequels to chocobo racing. Identifying the first Final Fantasy spin-off is complicated, as the Saga series, which originated in 1990, initially released in the West as Final Fantasy Legend. 1991's Final Fantasy Adventure is also linked with another franchise, this time Square Enix's Mana series, which released as part of 2019's Collection of Mana along with Secret of Mana and Trials of Mana. 1993's Final Fantasy Mystic Quest is all Final Fantasy though. More recent spin-offs include the strategy-based Final Fantasy Tactics series, cutesy multiplayer distraction Crystal Chronicles, and the likes of Dissidia, which offers a more action-focused option for fans of big swords and big hair. Hell, even tower defense and rhythm games have had the Final Fantasy treatment. It's sheer spin-off heaven. Actually, all this spinning off is making my head spin. I'm gonna go and lie down while you track down a Virtual Boy with Jack Bros. Alright, let me know how it goes.